Zoom, 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 zoom. I don't know why I did that, but I'm feeling it in the zone, zoom, zoom, zoom. Why somebody gonna get that sample it, watch. You're gonna hear that being number song. Zoom, 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 zoom. Just know it came from me first. What it is, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Freedom Train podcast series, the realest podcast out here ever. I am Joseph. He is Patrick, and we the leaders of the Aldarius clan. And if you cross us, we'll push you down. If you're cool, we might help you up. But if you're not, we're gonna push you down and leave you down. That's how we get down. We gangster. You heard me?
Gangster Weezy.
We going to libraries and make sure people are writing their stuff right and researching and reading right. You know what I'm saying? That's how we get down.
And returning their books.
On time, fool. You better not have no creases in these pages either.
Feel me?
There it is. There it is. Hey, remember that we're brought to you by PAX Inc., PACTS-INC, and PAX Inc. is a Black advocacy organization, as well as a Black think tank that's dedicated themselves and their resources to providing the community with free information and free resources and access to different people that can help improve your personal situation, your communal situation, or Black America as a whole. All you gotta do is tap in, visit the website at www.pactsinc.org. While you're online, make sure you visit our Freedom Train website at www.freedomtrainradio.com. That way you can learn more about the Freedom Train Network as a whole. You can learn more about myself, Joseph, Patrick, Shelby, Candace, and the return of the Enigma Sept Hour podcast, which is happening in May, really going down. www.freedomtrainradio.com. We appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. All of our longtime listeners, y'all know we love y'all. All of our new listeners, what up? Welcome to the train. Buckle yourself in. Let the Pullman porter know what you want. You heard, man. So this train ain't stopping today, but we got something crazy to talk about, man. Hey, this the person that's the center of this topic today is one of the 2022 inductees into the International Fuckboy Hall of Fame. He has a resume, I believe, that's probably over 10 years of doing fuckboy stuff, fucking people over, lying to people, all types of stuff, wild accusations, misleading people. Is being charged with sexual assault, is being charged with running a cult, abusing people. All these things, mishandling people. And we talking about this cat that's called himself Nature Boy. I think his real name is Eligio Bishop. All I got to say is I told y'all 10 years ago. I told y'all.
You way too excited about this, Josephus.
I know.
You love to see the downfall of the black man.
No, hey. I hate to see my community be stupid, be crazy for people, man. So I think it was probably about 10 years ago. I'm scrolling through.
You were scrolling through social medias, and you sent me a video. I remember exactly what you said, but back then you was a lot more raw than you are now. Mm-hmm. So it was probably something to the effect of, "What the fuck is this shit? What are these dumbass Negroes doing?" So something like that, maybe.
Yeah, something to that effect. So about 10 years ago, I came across a video of Nature Boy. This is my first time ever seeing him, and he was if my memory serves me correct, he was talking about his first trip going down to wherever he was in South America, starting up his Carbon Nation group, his cult or whatever they want to call it, alleged cult. And from what I remember, I think he was saying. I think he said they had a wife and a child, and he was leaving the wife and child to go follow his spiritual mission and all these things. And I'm like, that's a red flag. That's a big old red flag. I was like, y'all, I'm side-eyeing this cat because your spiritual mission, you're gonna leave the family that you created willingly. You willingly created this family, and you're gonna leave this family for a spiritual mission. Okay. Yeah, because your family don't need providing for. Okay. So that's when the buddy got my side out. I was like, this don't sound like no leader or somebody that people need to be following. But hey, it's 10 years later, and a whole bunch of motherfuckers to follow.
Yeah.
So I want to so I learned about this. I was scrolling last week or something. I was scrolling last week and I learned about this. And hold, let me get this video back straight. When I was watching but this news report. Let me get this back straight. But um I was scrolling sometime last week or the week before last, and I saw the video through YouTube talking about him being arrested for alleged charges of sexual assault, kidnapping, um, abusing people, all those things. And I'm just like, wow. So they finally got Buddy. So they finally got Buddy, huh? You remember a couple years ago, me and you and Dominique, we was going in on him because it was about it was before COVID. I had that video of him having them girls fight.
Yeah, that was because I remember you talking. I remember us having conversations about him over the years, but there's so many fuckboys out there that, for me, it was just like, all right, this is just another one. Like, file him away. That was when I really started like, all right, this might be a special brand of fuckboy. Like, this might be a unique flavor.
It was like a Royal Rumble with these two chicks, and they went live and they got like referees and I told you to do this and I told you to do that, and he got chicks physically fist fighting over him. I'm like, what are you all doing? But let's run this story first. Let's let the news people tell you what happened. Let me share my screen. Then we're gonna get into more details.
Let the news people tell you what happened.
Us tonight, I'm Ron Jones.
And I'm Jennifer Bellamy. The wife of a reported cult leader wants to tell her side of the story. Eligio Bishop, also known as Nature Boy, remains behind bars tonight, facing charges that include rape. 11 Alive's Paula Soro just finished speaking with his wife, and she joins us live at the DeKalb County Jail where Bishop is tonight. Paula?
Yeah, Jennifer, after 3 years of knowing each other, Velvet Marquez tells me Eligio Bishop forced her to marry him. Why? She says that he'd tell her that she'd then be forced to bail him out of jail if anything were to happen to him. And of course, today, something quite opposite is happening. She's telling us her side of the story.
I feel that now looking back, I feel that I fell in love with an idea because he pretended to be someone that he wasn't.
Behind this smiling face, Velvet Marquez faced her hardest years next to Eligio Bishop.
He literally held me hostage. He took all of my identification, my passport, my birth certificate, my social, my bank cards, everything, you name it, medical documentations.
She says Bishop, the leader of the so-called cult Carbon Nation, went from spoiling her to abusing her when she got pregnant.
I was forced to engage in sexual activity that I did not want to do. I was still strangled on multiple occasions. So I had to willingly engage in these sexual activities because of to keep myself safe. He would abuse me in front of the women.
She had their daughter in 2019, and a year and a half later, she says he forced her to legally marry him in a Las Vegas chapel.
There was no medical attention given to us. So when I actually went into labor, I had to be rushed to the hospital 2 hours away.
For years, the cult would drive and settle across Central America. Velvet says Bishop lived off of other members' PPP loans and life savings. She gave him her $3,000 college fund, while others gave tens of thousands of dollars. And after 4 tries, she successfully ran away with her daughter with no money but hope.
My child is important. I don't understand how anybody could leave their child to be with him or to go live with him.
Now, Velvet tells me she has since received death threats from Eligio and that he even showed up to her family's home in Louisiana just months after she ran away. Jennifer?
Paula, do we know, did she ever try reaching out to law enforcement?
She tells me she did, but it was very hard to track him down because he moves so often running away from law enforcement. But of course, now he is behind bars. Now, we also did speak to a former cult member, and we have her side of the story as well on 11alive.com. Jennifer?
All right, Paula, very involved story here. Thank you so much. Now, we have been following the story closely since Eligio Bishop's arrest. We have much more on the group that he's leading on our website, 11alive.com.
That boy need his ass whooped. That's all I got to say about that. That boy need his ass whooped. So it was a con artist, straight con artist, a broke ass con artist who, first of all, one of the things that threw me off 10 years ago is when he was talking about, for one, now this part may not be correct, but that's why I keep saying if my memory serves me correct. When he was saying he was leaving his family to go on this spiritual journey. Then he was saying that he's the return of Christ. He is the embodiment of Christ, and the world needs to follow him, and the world needs to bow down to him, and this and this and that and that. Well, where's the evidence? Where are the results? Where are your Christ-like results? Christ didn't have to swindle people out of their money. Christ didn't have to abuse people. Christ didn't have to allegedly sexually assault people. What the hell? How was that Christ-like? What the hell Bible was people reading?
You know, everybody got their own version of the Bible nowadays.
Oh yeah, you're right. The Willie Earl version coming soon. So
yeah, I mean, it's really a lot to unpack in that. Even with the psychology of the girls, and something that you say a lot, about people that come down hard on younger women and little girls for getting caught up. You see older women getting caught up too. Like, a lot of people would dismiss this young lady's story and say, well, she was young and dumb and she should have blah 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 blah. But there's a lot of grown ass, old ass women and men that was following this dude.
There's a video on YouTube of a woman who's a grown ass woman who says she moved from New York to where he was in Central America because she saw one video. All she needed was one video, and she went down there, got into it about 2-3 years. Shit went left. Shit went left, and she got out. But I'm thinking she got out because he wasn't trying to make no babies with her. I'm thinking she got out the easy because he probably wasn't messing with her like that.
Well, the interesting thing about all of this to me is just the lack of awareness, future thought, and critical thinking that happens nowadays. Because any of those things would prevent you from a situation like that, and it would definitely have you looking at it differently if you see negative stuff happening to other people. But we get into these spaces where it's so easy to manipulate people nowadays. You spend a few moments telling them something nice, something they like to hear, and you got them for the next 15 bad things you say.
But he did prey on young girls, and he preyed on people with low self-esteem. He preyed on people with no direction, because these people look for people who are lonely, like we talked about with our suicide. They're looking for people alone. They look for vulnerable people, whether you're young or old. They're looking for vulnerable people, right? And so, like you said, this has nothing to do with age. Now, yeah, these people are vulnerable, but they're still not making the best decision. Like I'm saying, the lady say, I saw one video on Facebook and was like, yeah, this is my confirmation to move down and be with this cat that I don't know nothing about. But it sounds good what he's saying.
That's, again, no critical thinking. Everybody's moving off of emotions.
He need his ass whooped though.
Yeah, he do. I mean, but for me, it's so much more, because every time I see stories like that, it's just like that's a community failure.
Yeah.
Like, that's not those individuals had their decisions and they didn't make the best ones. Absolutely.
But people knew this was going on. Anybody do nothing about it.
That's a community failure.
It should have,
for all of the people that went down there, all of their families failed them. His family failed him, and we as a collective failed that entire group of people by not checking that when we first saw, and I'm saying we because it was all of us, when we first saw the video, the girls fighting. That should have been, you know what I'm saying? That should have been it right there. All right, what's going on here?
Yeah. Now, I wish I'm not, because I'm thinking, what more could I have done? Because I know I said it. I said it to people in person. I said it online. Every chance I got, every time I saw something about him, I know I said something. And it's like it fell on deaf ears though. Like,
well, it's a collective thing though. Like I don't think it's a one person thing. Like, because I can attest to the fact that, you know, I said openly, I kind of dismissed Buddy, but you've been pretty consistent over these years about, you know, fuck him, what the fuck is going on over there. But it's gonna take more than one person. Like, we needed more people to do what you were doing and just stand up and be like, what the, come on, bro.
Like this shit sound right to y'all? Like, don't nothing about this sound wrong to y'all. And that's what I was on. Like, first of all, you ain't the second coming to nobody. And you want to know how? Because you can't help nobody. They're helping you. They were funding him. He's living off of their money. He's manipulating and swindling people out of their money to survive. They're moving from space to space to space all over Central America, living off the grid.
Funny years.
Remember the report that came out about them, or the rumors or whatever, that they was passing around gonorrhea and HIV down there?
Yeah, I do remember that, because I was talking about that for a minute.
And that was before the fight video.
Yeah. I do remember that.
So it over the years, like every so often, every 2 years or something, information to leak out, and there's nothing good about it. You living off of people. You got girls fighting over you. That's just the fight we saw. Right? You pass around STDs, HIV. The young lady said she needed medical care and had to go 2 hours. Well, if you're the second coming to Christ, you shouldn't need no medical care.
Well, you know, that to me also sounds like you didn't get no doctors in to join your cult, no medical professionals join your cult,
or critical, or maybe people who think critically was like, nah.
Like, what you need, like, this is my thing, right? All good cults need an advisory board, because the advisory board is what keeps them from being a cult. That's what makes, like, it's a fine line between religious organization and cult, and usually that line is the advisory board. Y'all people doing cults, y'all fucking, I'm giving free hints out here. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. Hey, straight up. I mean, this is wild, man. Like, the stuff is wild. It said a Georgia man accused of running the cult that views him as God was ordered held without bail Friday, been charged with rape and false imprisonment. Like the lady said, he took all of her ID, her credit cards, passport, social security card. I control you now. That don't, you know, I ain't no Christian, but I read the Bible plenty of times. My favorite part was that red writing. And then I know my mom's had us reading a bunch of little children's Bible stories and stuff. And I've read a lot about Jesus. I've read all types of Christ stories. And it don't sound like nothing to what he was doing.
Yeah, but that's where, you know, you critical, and I've been saying, and I'm gonna keep saying, critical thinking is so important, because she was fine when everything was good, when they were treating her well and doting on her. And I bet that's probably when he took, and I'm not saying for sure, I could be wrong, but to me that would make sense as to that was probably when he took all her shit. He asked for it and she gave it to him when everything was good.
It's the honeymoon period. We've talked about this before. It's the honeymoon period. That was in the honeymoon period. He lulled her to sleep, got what he needed.
She was in the honeymoon period. He was
on the hunt. He was a predator.
Yeah.
He was on the hunt. And then when he got away he wanted, once he got her where he wanted, to where he knew it was difficult for her to leave, that's probably when he turned to a tyrant.
Like, and I think getting the IDs and stuff was just a part of it, because she said once she got pregnant, everything shifted. And like, that's when that's when people really feel like they got you.
Because she's vulnerable. She's vulnerable. She doesn't have the full ability to protect herself when she's pregnant.
Yeah, and it's used on, you know, there are fine people using it on both sides, because a man is also most vulnerable when his woman is pregnant, or you know, he's most compromised, especially when a woman that he don't really want to fuck with like that is pregnant with his child. A man is not a member of the International Fuckboys of America anyway.
Yeah. Oh, he's inducted into the International Football Hall of Fame. Straight up. So what's also crazy is one of the first videos I saw of this, before I saw the news clip that we just watched, and before I saw the video of the young lady talking about she saw the Facebook post. There was a video of this guy who was like, nah, man, ain't none of this true, man. This cat's good. This cat's the second coming of God. This cat's this cat's that. He ain't do nothing wrong. He taught us so much. He held us. He loves us. I like, man, get that man dick out your mouth and stop acting like a little bitch, because you know goddamn well you lying.
But I mean, maybe he not. That's one thing. We don't give members of the IFBA enough credit for their ability to make themselves seem like they're not full of shit. And for people that are just looking for something, they can easily get tricked. Now, I'm sure that buddy I'm sure he did learn a lot from dude. Now, is any of it useful? Is any of it beneficial or positive?
Hell no, it ain't. Hell no, it ain't. Because if the stuff that he was learning was useful, Black America would be in a better state.
Well, he claimed he was in a better state. You know, now it might have been a state that he achieved through the use of drugs and other illegal medications, but
this nigga's in a better state in Georgia in jail.
Well, I'm sure he wish he was in a better state for that.
Cause I'm like, if you got all this information that has came out over the years, and then you got these people with these personal testimonies talking about all this stuff that is happening. Then you got this one dude talking about, nah, man, this ain't true, dog. He good, he cool, dog. He made us feel good, dog. He Christ, dog. Yeah, he legit. You a bitch.
What you just said, though, he made us feel good. That's all people are chasing nowadays, is a good feeling.
It's just so crazy how people can be manipulated and influenced like that. Because there was another story about this lesbian chick who started like this cult with big girls, like nothing but big girls. You heard about that?
Yeah.
And they was calling her daddy or whatever. And it's just like they were just giving her money. She was abusing them. And I'm like, what? An online cult? Yep. An online cult?
The abuse became a form of affection.
Right. I'm like, man, there's some sick bastards out in this world who just like, you know what? Today, I feel like misleading people. See who gonna follow me.
Well, I mean, conversations have been had in the past about, how gullible people are. And, the problem is neither one of us are members of the IFBA, and we don't know anybody that's a member of the IPHA. So, maybe we need to branch out. I can't fuck with members of the IFBA, but I don't know. I've never met a lot of members of the IPHA, but maybe that's the route we need to take.
I have. That's a whole lot of pussy hoes. That's a whole lot of pussy hoes out here.
Well, I'm sure, like we was just talking about one, the lesbian chick with the big girl coat. That's
yeah.
And I don't know why we keep calling her a lesbian chick, because the LGBTQ that would be viewed as being what is it? Transphobic, sexphobic. LGBT homophobic.
Oh, because she can't be a woman and lesbian.
Because they would probably be like, because y'all keep drawing attention to the fact that she's a lesbian.
She started a cult with women to manipulate women specifically. Yeah, because her being a lesbian has nothing to do with that. She just flipped a coin, right?
You say, out of everything we just said, that's what you focus on? Not the cult or the abuse, but the fact that we kept saying lesbian. That's
right. Yeah, because that's pertinent, right? Because those issues are more important than everybody being misled and swindled out of their money and stuff like that. Because that's more important, right?
You say, all right, well, I guess there ain't nothing else to talk about. Back to you, Bill.
Right. Hey, Tom, I think they're stupid. Man, it's just wild, man. Because this is Jim Jones-esque without the mass suicide. This is modern day Jim Jones-esque, and these are supposed to be, once again, this conscious community. He targeted people who were either in or wanted to be a part of this the conscious community. Yeah, consciousness means to be aware.
Well, that's a whole other, and we've been having that conversation for years and years as well. But honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this Nature Boy shit is the final form of a lot of these pro-black movements. Like, I feel like it's the final evolution.
Yeah, it got to a massive following and take advantage of them.
Right, because we keep seeing it. It keep happening it over and over and over and over. And I'm just like, at what point are we gonna realize that that's not the psychology, human behavior, sociology?
Yeah,
everything points to it. That don't work.
It's just like a whole bunch of black people continue to vote for the Democrats, even though they know they ain't doing nothing, but the Democrats tell them something good and put a black person in front of them, and they'll vote for them. Cult-ish.
Everybody want to feel good. I mean, it's like all the people that's still saying that Donald Trump isn't a criminal.
It's just wild, man. It's just wild because
fuck Nature Boy Ric Flair.
He a pussy boy. I mean, like bruh knew what he was doing. Bruh knew exactly what he was doing.
He a pussy boy.
Yeah. Y'all, like any negative term you can think of, that's what he is. Fuck boy, pussy boy. He could be a pussy hoe too.
He definitely an I-band. Definitely an I-band.
Like that's wild, man. It's like it's my duty to take over y'all. It's my duty to lie to y'all. It's my duty I have to be your God. Think about the level of narcissism it takes to go to people with confidence and say, I'm God, and then to tell them that they supposed to believe that you God and you can't do shit godly.
But that's why he's in the Hall of Fame for both I-band and the IFBA.
Hey, I'm just saying, if he's the second coming to Jesus, I'm sure he'd been in jail more than 3 days, so he should have been out by now, right? It's leadership at its worst. What he did is, it's not even leadership, it's manipulation. But it will be leadership at its worst. Leaders make people better, not drag them down for their own self-aggrandizement. That's not what men do. That's not even talking about leaders. That's not what men do.
Yeah,
he's not a man. He was taking advantage of young people, older people, just people who were just lost, taking advantage of them, but especially young girls.
Yeah, I would say he was a leader. He just wasn't a positive one. You gotta give him that. He was able to mobilize and unite a large group of people to achieve a goal, and it was his goal. It wasn't a big. He was a leader in the same vein as Adolf Hitler or Jim Jones.
Yeah,
if we're being technical, you know, I'm technical, Ted.
I guess if you want to be technical, I guess I'm like, because it's more manipulation than leadership tactics, but man,
But aren't they kind of one and the same?
Well, like one of the young girls said, he would force her to do things. No, a leader don't have to force you to do stuff. No, there were consequences. If you don't do this, there are consequences, negative physical consequences that's gonna happen to you. So I get what you're saying, but just thinking about it in that vein, like a leader, I'm sure Adolf didn't have to beat the Germans to get them to follow him. It was just the ideologies they brought into, because they believe that shit. Like a lot of them Germans believe that shit before he even started talking.
Yeah, and a lot of them people in the Nature Boys cult believe that shit. They just look for somebody that was confident enough and emboldened enough to say it out loud the way he did. So like I just like, you know, because if we just talking about, so I just take the, like, he wasn't a positive leader. Absolutely not. But was he a leader? I mean, I gotta say he was a leader. He just wasn't a good one. Or I would say he wasn't a positive one. Yeah. Because he was a good one. I mean, this motherfucker for 10 years was able to get people to support his lifestyle.
10 years. He was a pimp.
Well, hey, man, pimps with more than one hoe are fantastic leaders.
He was definitely a pimp. He had more pimp. It's leadership, but it was pimp quality. He had more pimp qualities than Mud, bro. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, he's a hoe. He's a whole hoe. Straight up, man. Like, I don't like.
What does that say about the people that were following him, though?
They crazy.
Clear that up.
Oh, okay. They crazy. Right. Like, they crazy. They misled. They need therapy. They're lost.
Do now.
They got self-esteem issues. They're vulnerable. All these words go into that, because and all those words can fit, because everybody went in the same position. The lady who saw the Facebook post, her ass crazy. I don't give a damn what nobody say about that. I'm scrolling Facebook one day and I see a post. Oh, this cat talking about he God and all this other stuff here. I'm finna move from New York to South America, Central America, wherever the hell he is, and go be with him. You crazy as hell, lady.
I with that, I have I'm just kind of like, what was the condition of her life that seemed like a good option?
Right. Nah, man, fuck all this.
Yeah, like, she had to be in some real bad shit to see that and be like, yep, whole nother country, let's do it.
Not just whole nother country. I'm about to go live off grid in shanty conditions under the rulership of a musty motherfucker named Nature Boy, who allegedly passed around STDs and having people fight over him.
But you know what? Shit like this also doesn't bode well for, like, I always blow shit like this up and be like, this is why we need government.
Yeah.
Because you can't trust one motherfucker. Like, whenever one motherfucker gets too much power, shit seems to always go left.
When there's no order, chaos will ensue.
And this is where yeah, exactly.
But like, the world has always been about conquest. The world is not a nice place. It's always been about conquest. On every level of life, it's all about conquest. Somebody got to die for somebody to live. Something has to end for something to either begin or continue. That's just what it is.
It's the circle of life. It's the circle of life.
So I mean, it's like, we have to get these ideas out of our head. Yeah, people talk about world peace because world peace is something that can be attained, but world peace is right, but it's also counter to how nature is. Yes, peace can happen because the law of opposites say if war happens or violence happens, peace happens. There's a time for violence and there's a time for peace, but both happens and both have to exist.
Yeah, everything exists on a spectrum, and we're constantly fluctuating between both extremes. And war and peace are just one more spectrum that we're constantly fluctuating between in our lives. Some of us are fortunate enough to live and exist during peaceful times. Others of us are not. But
Right.
world peace is that's a pipe dream. That's right up there with stopping global warming. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, world peace has never been attained. It's never
Neither
been
has
attained.
stopping global warming. Look, man, people just and we weigh. But look, humans are fundamentally flawed and soundly fucked.
But
all right,
but it's still on the line what we're talking about, because we're talking about a person who's a tyrant. He had there was no structure, there was no government, there was nothing, there were no rules or laws to keep him in check. Immediate rules or laws to keep him in check. And that's how he became the tyrant he is.
and that's because all people love to abdicate responsibility whenever they can. We talk about this all the time. There are two responsibilities in a dynamic between a leader and a follower. The leaders have their responsibilities, and we spend far too much time talking about it. But the followers also have responsibilities in terms of their followership and holding that leader accountable. And followers, more often than not, fail to hold up their end of the bargain. And I spend a lot of time talking about that actually in my new book, Black Tactics of the Revolution. But followers we need to start teaching people how to be a good follower. Because it don't matter how great a leader you are, if you're a leader and there's nobody following you, then you're just a crazy person talking to yourself.
Right. It's just it's unfortunate that we get stories like this. It's unfortunate. And now this happens a lot more than we know. Happens hell of a lot more than we know. But it's unfortunate that this happens, and this happened on like this scale that we know of. So yeah, he needs his ass whooped. Don't let that motherfucker out no time soon. Don't let his ass out no time soon. If he get out, somebody need to be waiting on him to whoop his ass. Like, wow, bro. Wow, you a bitch. That's all I got to say about that. I don't need to beat this horse no more, because this you a bitch. That's all Hey man, I'm Joseph Ward. He's Patrick Irvin, and we are not a part of the International Fuck Boys Association, and we will never be making that Hall of Fame. G's up, get your cheese up. Make sure y'all take care of y'all chicken. Make sure you keep your life straight. Make sure you wipe good and wash your hands. And don't be getting no goddamn Rona, because it ain't over. Peace out.